Have you noticed any deposit flight coming towards you from regional banks in any way, shape or form similar to what we saw 12 months ago?
There hasn't been the kind of change there was last year because, you know, there are unique business models. That's what's not involved. There's a little bit of it, and so nothing we're seeing. And by the way, we see a lot of flows, and we don't see it anywhere. The industry is well capitalized, has good liquidity. Believe me, from last year to this year, people short up their liquidity across the industry. Commercial real estate is a slow burn. It's a classic burn. In other words, if you go back in the late 80s and early 90s, we had a rolling commercial real estate recession, and so there'll be difficulties, and we're working at. But you know, the trading attitude, which is these assets got to move at a price tomorrow morning, isn't the way the banking system works. And frankly, that's the value of the banking system. We work with clients. We figure out what you take a building, you figure out what the ultimate end state rental rolls will provide. You refinance it. Sometimes that wipes out the equity. Sometimes it doesn't. We're careful in how we underwrite as an industry. You know, the top 30 banks go through the stress test, which has an effect that says, wait a second, if you're underwriting out in an odd way, you have to put up the capital to prove you're right before you even get the chance to prove you're right. So in other words, your capital requirements will reflect your underwriting today, even though recession may never come. And it reflects your underwriting commitments under a scenario where commercial real estate drops by 30 or 40% instantaneously. So there's an effect on that on the industry, which is much more conservative building and much more middle-of-the-road building, which is probably slow down the capital provision to some of these companies, but on the other hand, it's not a bad thing when you get to this point. So we feel very good. Does that mean banks might fail? There's been thousands of banks have failed across the last 30, 40 years. That's what happens. Business models change. But on the other hand, the quality of the banking system is strong.